I want to ask you how and why you got into and interested in the world of money and the relationships that people have with money, the emotional side of managing your money.
Yeah, so both of my parents are from Jamaica. I'm a dual citizen here. And when I started, they didn't grow up navigating this financial system. And so when they moved to the United States, as they had a bunch of kids, I'm one of 5, we didn't talk about money in the household like many of y'all. Like, how many of y'all actually grew up talking about money? Okay, all right, cool. And so when we were growing up, we didn't talk about money, but we also came from humble beginnings. So there were 8 of us in a 3-bedroom house, sometimes 10, depending on who was here from Jamaica. And then we also had some financial challenges where the lights or water would be disconnected, but we weren't talking about those things. And so when I got to college, I made every money misstep possible. I'm talking 7 maxed out credit cards, overdraft fees to the point they closed all of my bank accounts and told me to ease on down the road. I had 2 repossessions because one wasn't enough, of course. I got evicted. My credit score is at 385. I didn't even know it could go that low. And I see some of y'all's eyebrows hitting the ceiling. Don't judge me. This is in the past, you know. But after making those mistakes, I knew that I had to do something different.
How'd you turn it around?
Well, after I dropped out of college, I decided that I was going to get better with money. A mentor of mine gave me a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and he knows that I'm somebody who loves lyrics, and so the stories in the book hit me. And as I started making different decisions around my money, I started talking to other people about doing the same. But even as I started my company in 2012, a lot of people, they knew what to do, but they couldn't get themselves to do it. And that's when I realized that it was more about the thoughts and emotions than it was about math and numbers when it comes to money.
I think a lot of what we learn about money as younger people and throughout our lives, and sometimes what we do with money, comes from our parents or maybe even our grandparents. They are our first role models here. Do you agree with that? And were your parents good or bad role models for you?
So, I do agree with that.
Or both at the same time.
Yeah,
you can be both.
I was going to say, so I agree with that for sure. I think that our money beliefs and our money roots really come from 4 specific places. It's the things that you heard growing up about money, the things that you actually saw around money in your household and your community, the things that you personally experienced around money from the age of 2 to today, where you hear my voice and see my face. And then the last one, which is something we don't talk about a lot, is your parents' experience with money, their parents' experience with money, back 7 generations. And some people are like, 7 generations?
7 generations.
I don't even know some of these people who you're talking about. But to think about it, your parents taught you what they did or did not teach you about money, depending on how they grew up. And your grandparents did the same thing with your parents, and so on and so forth. And so some of the things.
So your grandparents were your teachers' teachers.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when it comes to learning about money, there are some things that you may have said, I'm definitely not doing that like my parents when I get to college, and inadvertently you're doing exactly that. Because some of the education is unconscious for us, because we're seeing it, we're absorbing it. So they may not say anything to you about money. They may not specifically sit you down and tell you this is what you should do. But even if they don't, you're learning from their actions. You're learning from their experiences.
As one quests for financial freedom in their lifetime, is it more important that they save wisely or spend wisely? In other words, is the path to financial freedom more dependent on how much you save or how well and how little you spend?
So it's not about how much you make, it's how much you keep. And so when it comes to, is it a question of saving or spending that is most important or prioritized? It's both and. There's no way that you can. It's just like at the gym, right? You cannot outwork a bad nutrition plan. If I wake up in the morning to a cheeseburger and there's a day in high school, I still remember this, Burger King had dropped the Tender Crisp sandwich. It was a chicken sandwich. I ate one for breakfast, one for lunch, and one for dinner. Not a good idea. I see y'all, some of y'all's mouths drop like, what is he doing? But the same way that I ate those Tender Crisps throughout the whole day, I'm talking about fries, onion rings, y'all, it was ridiculous. But I could not outwork that nutrition plan in terms of the gym. It's the same thing when it comes to your money. You can't out-earn a bad spending plan. So if you don't really put your arms around your money and tell it where to go, and put some to the side so it can save you one day, like you're saving money so it can save you down the road, then financial freedom is something that may continue to escape you or that you're going to continue to run at. So it's a both-and situation.
Is there a target goal that someone should have for how much they should save or spend?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. So when it comes to like a savings rate, personally, I set a goal to save 50 cents of every dollar that I made. And when I started out, y'all, there was no way that I was saving that amount of money. I would be lucky to save $25 a month. And then I started building from there. And so one thing that I'll tell you, like, there are people who say that you should start with 10%. That's a great place to start. 20%, as you mentioned, is a great place to start too. But set a goal that you're looking to increase that money towards. And as you're, putting money to the side, what's going to happen is that you build your money muscle. You're going to start getting used to saving and used to investing, where you can save and invest even more, or save and invest consistently. And so a baseline, like you mentioned, is 20%. You can start there. I like that. But if you want to, like, for instance, I have a ambition to retire, once I hit 45, or decide that I don't want to work for money anymore. So I'm saving and investing way more aggressively than some people are, or some people would even advise you to. But once you know like what you want to do, some of those percentages will start creeping up, and you'll decide like, I want to kick some more money to the side.